Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, is your gateway to the Silicon Savannah, to the East African community, the most integrated regional market of 500 million people. It is also a gateway to the Pan-African market of 1.4 billion people. If you build in Kenya, it works for Africa, and if you set up in Kenya, your African footprint is guaranteed. Our country is not only a thriving economy of the hardest workers you can find anywhere, it is also a scenic extravaganza of spectacular geography and a thrilling theater of rare wildlife in majestic action. If you travel from the Indian Ocean coast at the southern end to the world's second largest freshwater lake on the southwestern side, you will inspect the parade of proud palm trees in the coastal lowlands and the enigmatic baobab trees that hide elephants and give way to looming giraffe feeding and leopard sheltering acacia of the Nyika, that's the plateau. The herbivorous magnet savanna grasses where lions and cheetahs stalk hungrily for prey. Before you enter dense tropical forests higher and further inland on the way to behold the dramatic Afro-alpine flora of freezing mountainside, where you can see the snow-capped peak of Africa's second highest mountain before surveying the breath-stopping escarpments with borders to Lake Shirun, Great Rift Valley, where I come from. You can enjoy all this and more over a course of only 800 kilometers. The diversity of our landscapes and wildlife is amazing. Our people are brilliant winners of diligent go-getters. Magical Kenya is irresistible. I have learned something fantastic from Ambassador Whitman. Kenya has innumerable, marvelous attractions that we have grown up with and often take for granted. I agree with her that Kenya is beautiful and brimming with possibilities, which will be unleashed by aligning your investments with our opportunities. My work is to create the best possible environment for that to happen. And I give you my commitment that I will do my best, and I will do it quickly. At the Africa Climate Summit held in Nairobi a few days ago, the last remaining skeptics were finally convinced by incontestable facts that Africa is the next frontier of a new industrial revolution. At close to 1.5 billion people, nearly a fifth of the world's population is African, meaning that approximately 1 in every 5 people globally is African. What is more, Africa is extraordinarily a young continent with a median age of 19. Thanks to decades of painstaking investment in human capital development, our youth are educated, skilled, and highly motivated to make their contribution to economic and cultural transformation and ready to work globally as a global workforce. Africa remains famous for its abundant endowments of natural resources of a wonderful variety, ranging from mineral resources, including critical minerals required for transition into clean and green industrialization, to the world's largest available tracts of arable, uncultivated agricultural land, as well as carbon sinks. Together with green energy generation potential from solar, hydro, geothermal, and as you heard Meg say, wind power. In fact, the largest wind farm in Africa is Lake Turkana wind farm that is in Kenya. Only capital and technology in the form of ready, affordable, and adequate investment stand between Africa's potential and its destiny. Underdevelopment and industrialization, and between poverty and prosperity, a youth time bomb and a democratic dividend. This is the context from which I speak to you at America's, if not the world's, technology capital here in San Francisco. The idea that Africa stands in need of its own tech capital isn't new, or it's not even wishful thinking. For decades, thinkers have tossed around the idea of a space and culture dedicated to the development and expansion of technology companies, products, and innovations in Africa. This is not only consistent with the philosophy of the Africa we want and the Pan-African ethos of African solutions for African problems, it also envisions an Africa capable of harnessing technology to thrive by providing localized solutions in a dynamic, strategic, and operational environment, exploiting its unique endowments and capacities, and powering regional and continental integration and transformation to unlock our shared prosperity, not just in Africa, but globally as well. The most consequential breakthrough in technological innovation will take place in the East African savannah when global tech leadership, together with foreign direct investment, converge upon Africa's youthful human capital, natural resources, and green energy potential. I am very clear in my mind that this is the moment we are having a conversation about. I am not alone in this conviction. The first movers are already on site, and they pitched tent long time ago in Kenya, a country famous for its vibrant entrepreneurship culture and pioneering innovation ecosystem, which is now home to the regional headquarters of Google, IBM, and Oracle, among others. I want to assure you, ladies and gentlemen, on what Ambassador Whitman has presented. Kenya is all that he has said and much more. You will hear Sitoyo Lopokoit, he is right here with us, give you his presentation of M-Pesa, the mobile money innovation that has transformed payments, challenged traditional banking services, and innovatively solved transactional security issues. M-Pesa is also Kenya's confident announcement to the world that we are ready, able, and willing to play in the big tech league. I am aware that it's not enough to have opportunities, however numerous and attractive. Incentives, and I repeat, incentives matter. And investment capital responds directly to the institutional dimensions of the operating environment. I have come to the Silicon Valley to underscore the Kenya government's strategic intent to support, through infrastructure and other investment, the enhancement of Kenya's position as the epicenter of Africa's innovation and technological transformation. Due to the various factors, many countries in our part of the world still struggle with low rates of internet penetration, digital literacy, and electric power connectivity. Access to the internet, a requirement to practically a fundamental human rights status throughout the world, remains out of reach for most people on our continent, with less than 22% access in 2021 that was reported. Given Africa's unique situation with the international financial system, few countries enjoy the fiscal space required to commit significant resources to strategic investment aimed at systematically developing digital infrastructure, services, skills, and entrepreneurship. For your information, Kenya is among those few. We have provided the infrastructure and institutional framework to support high connectivity throughout the country. Our mobile penetration is the highest on the continent, close to universal. 4G and 5G coverage is 96%, with major urban centers across the country connected to 5G networks. The mobile phone remains the foremost instrument of digital transformation in Kenya, enabling people perform a broad range of tasks and enjoy a spectrum of services at their convenience. It is the engine that optimizes the restless energy of our youthful and entrepreneurial nation. And as a government, we are working on smartphones to make sure that citizens from the comfort of their homes and villages can access government services. There remains significant opportunity to do more in fostering digital access and inclusion. As a matter of fact, it is possible for us in Kenya to leapfrog over more traditional ICT simply by keeping down the cost of smartphones. The possibility motivated my announcement early in the year that the government would collaborate with the private sector to roll out the first 1 million locally assembled smartphones to sell at only US $40. For technology to play its role. And just for your information, the factory is up and the first 20,000 units are out. For technology to play its role as the great equalizer, it must be supported through investment to become widely available, and working between government and the private sector is a necessity, if not an imperative. Kenya's high digital connectivity complements our people's entrepreneurship. In turn, this attracts venture capital to our economy. This is why Kenya defied a global slowing down of venture capital to record Africa's strongest growth in funds raised. According to the funding tracker, Kenya emerged second in venture capital funding, tying with Nigeria, whose population is 4 times ours, and handily beating Egypt and South Africa. The reason for Kenya's strong performance in attracting venture capital funding boils down to investor confidence, the knowledge that a startup that succeeds in Kenya is highly likely to scale the rest of Africa. As an example, M-Pesa, a homegrown, typical Kenyan solution, now operates in 7 countries, serving over 51 million customers. Venture capital flows to Kenya in large volumes. Is doing so because there is a conducive environment for innovators to test their products. Kenya's sizable youth population is ever hungry with new ideas, fresh innovations, and the fastest technology, and this makes our country a magnet for innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. We are unequivocally Africa's startup hub. Kenya is a wholly people-driven nation, state and economy. Our ability to compete with economies with superior resource endowments comes from the spirit of resilience of our people. At the heart of our entrepreneurial culture are the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of Kenyan people. The irrepressible energy of our people drives our country's overall robustness, and particularly our dynamism in technological innovation and beyond. We do not take this for granted, and investing in people is therefore a critical strategic priority for Kenya. One of the most, Kenya is the cradle of humankind, is the home of humankind. That is where we all came from. Those of you who are in America, those of you in Asia and the rest of the world, we all came from somewhere in Kenya. And therefore, don't be surprised when you feel at home in Kenya, because it truly is home. And therefore, I want to urge you, it is said, east and west, including north and south, home is best. Come invest at home. Thank you very much.